knowledge hits different.
Hey everybody, it's your girl MyGems.
And your boy Tony Benjamin. You already know.
And we're back with another episode of Dropping Gems 252.
We in the building.
So you already know this is where we talk about truth that transforms and shadows that are stories. And every story, every shadow has a story, and every truth is a version of being transformed.
And you got to we look at those parts of ourselves most are afraid to look at. So get grounded, take some deep breaths, and let's step into these truths together.
All right, so what if I told you guys what was holding you back wasn't a typical thing like everybody else say, like this could be holding you back, that could be holding you back, but in reality, it's you who's holding you back. Majority of the time, we call ourselves being really confident in things and what we take pride in, but as we know, pride can be that ego trap.
Yeah, like sometimes you'll have a false confidence and it's really just a fear of not knowing, a fear of being exposed. And it doesn't leave room for you to grow because you're not receptive to new information. You think you know it all, so you end up stuck.
Yeah, because it's like you're protecting that identity. This is an identity, a version of you that you felt you needed to create in order for you to be able to mingle or be able to interact with other individuals that you come into contact with. Because we all know when we are operating in pride, and we know pride is a way to cover up a version of ourselves. So if we put on this mask every day, and someone comes to you and they want to expose that mask, it's not necessarily meaning they're trying to expose you. It's just a version of yourself that you need to see that is being seen that you may not be seeing. And that's a part of you that is that goes into that growth when you're learning about yourself that you may need to acknowledge, and it may be something you need to let go.
Yeah, because your ego will have you closed off to new perspectives. Like it'll have you thinking that your way is the end all be all, the only thing that it could be. When you're open to new perspectives, you learn new things and you're able to grow. You're able to take that new information and adapt it and add it to what you already know, which will make you even better, and you grow from that.
Yeah, because for one, we all know that when you hold on to pride, it blocks your growth. It blocks a part of you that, moving forward into something that you're like, if you want to be say you want to be, like for example, we were giving an example about Batman, about how he operates.
Yeah.
Tell him a little bit about how that perspective can be.
Yeah, it's like everybody knows Batman is Bruce Wayne. Now, Bruce Wayne is the actual mask, because that's the mask. That's the version of him that society accepts and knows, and it allows him to move about without being, without feeling like he's not being himself, and like everyone accepts that part. They wouldn't accept the real version of him, which is Batman, the vigilante. That's truly who he is. Mm-hmm. Bruce Wayne is the mask. You know what I'm saying? Like, but our ego, I have us stuck in that Bruce Wayne, and we never become who we truly are. We be afraid of being who we truly are.
Yes, that is example, because like the way I see it, when I reflect on myself, when I see myself operating out of pride, I see myself asking myself, well, why do I feel the need to have to do that? Why do I feel the need to have to wear that? Where in my self-reflection, my self-evaluation, am I operating out of pride? Because am I seeking to hide a version of myself that I don't want to be seen? Because sometimes it could be toxic. If I wear this mask every day of pride, and it's like The Mask, the movie, for example. Whenever he would put the mask on, he would turn into a whole nother person. He would have all these things, but he felt like he couldn't be that without the mask, but the mask helped him become this version of himself.
Who he truly was.
But what was the downfall of it?
Now the downfall was, that's where the ego comes in.
Exactly.
The ego had him thinking that he had to have the mask in order to be who he truly was and he wouldn't be accepted being himself.
Yeah, because you know, the first time, what is the first thing he did once he discovered that mask? He put the mask on, he went into the club, he got all the attention, he got all the ladies, he got everything he never thought he could get without that mask. But that was just a version of himself that he created to become that. Yeah. And then he overused the mask.
Yeah, that's how he ended up getting trapped. He got attached to it.
That
but
part.
To curb that, like, you never really can get rid of your pride or your ego, but you can control it and curb it and kind of tame it by actively practicing humility. You know what I'm saying? Like being open to new information, because that
Setting
sparks
boundaries.
growth. Setting boundaries.
Yeah, because once you start setting those boundaries with yourself, you don't allow pride to operate in the driver's seat no more. You're like, okay, I can validate that, but I won't allow that to lead me into being, you know, being codependent on that version of me. Instead, I'm going to work on humility. You know, that's when you transform into humility. You see self-awareness. You become aware of how you put that mask on and how it affects you, and not just you, but everyone else around you.
Yeah, like you even see it sometimes in society. Like you got two CEOs. Now, one is it don't mean like you lessen yourself by practicing humility. It's like one CEO is open to feedback from his employees, which helps the company grow and become better. The other CEO isn't. He feels that his way is the only way, and what eventually happens, he loses good employees. The quality of whatever his product is starts to crumble. It's not adapting, it's not evolving, it's not growing, because he's stuck in his ways, he's stuck in his pride and his ego.
Yeah, a lot of people can get stuck in our pride and ego. Just like before while we were in the backstage, behind the scenes, we were discussing our segment and seeing exactly how we wanted to present it. But at the same time, I was like, hold on, are we actually about to put on a mask real quick? You know, am I gonna? I don't want to be prideful in things that I'm discussing. You know, I want to be able to have self-awareness about how I'm presenting myself, and not actually operating out of a prideful matter, because, you know, I had to have a lot of humility to have this, to be in this version of myself, to be able to acknowledge and to be able to see that pride. Because once I realized, oh wow, I was operating out of pride. Because before, you know, when you feel like you're being exposed because of your of something you presented yourself to be, but then someone saw something other than that, you feel like you're threatened. Your whole nervous system, you automatically go into a version where you're feeling attacked.
Yeah, it's like you convince yourself of one thing, you know, and then someone comes along to try to show you something a little different to help you elevate, and then you reject that. That's when you're stuck in your ego and your pride. Like you're not actively practice humility. Humility would have been like, okay, tell me what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can see it from different. Maybe show me the other side of the coin, and that'll help me develop and, you know, become more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know, it's a good example, because I know I grew up as a young child, and I had a prideful parent, and that his pride taught me a lot about myself, because I was able to learn a lot of new things. I was able to go outside my comfort zone to what I was raised in, to be able to expand my knowledge, to be able to expand what I know. And when I would go back and present it to someone who's you know, prideful or stuck in their ways, and, you know, they want to believe what they want to believe, it's okay, but at the same time, it's hindering your growth. It's hindering your mind. You know, you put limits on yourself.
Yeah,
you know,
facts.
That's where that pride comes in, and that pride, I'm telling you, that's that ego trap. And you find yourself, you can be in that. You find yourself being there at times, but I'm in a place where I've taken myself out of that trap, and I can go back and look down and say, oh, how did I get there? What put me there? How did I get myself out? And then I take that and I do what we're doing here, and I share that.
Yeah.
I go and I share my experience.
Yeah,
you know?
like real life, like coming up, you know, as a man, I was taught basically, you do what you gotta do. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You know, you don't ask nobody for help. You don't put your hand out, you know, type stuff. But I convinced myself that was the only way. So it was times I went through things where I could have had the help, but I pushed those people away because I was in my pride. It was in my ego. My pride wouldn't allow me to ask them for help. You know what I'm saying? To help me get out of a situation. And I just, over time, I matured and realized, like, sometimes it's okay to ask for help, because that'll show you something different, or you can learn to get yourself, you can be able to maneuver and navigate a situation that you really didn't understand. They may have been through it before, but back then I was shutting all of that out. I wasn't receptive.
Now, what made you think that you were shutting it out? And that goes back to the shadows, because like I said in the beginning, every shadow has a story. So,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I know I was shutting it out because I was pushing those people away. They would offer help and I'd turn them down. Like, nah, I got it. You know what I'm saying? Or I wouldn't even allow them to help because I felt like their help wouldn't help me.
It made you feel like you were weak at some point in time.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't do it myself, but that was me ego tripping.
Yes, I can relate. I can relate with that because I've operated at those mindsets. And then I thought about myself, when and why did I start moving, and what made me feel that I had to do that? And like I said, I had a parent figure. My parents were my first teachers in a lot of things. And when I do my my experience that I can share to relate with this topic is, you have a prideful father and you have a prideful mother, and you put those two together and you wonder why you don't ask for certain things. You wonder why you move certain ways. But see, when that's humility comes in and you go and you do the self acknowledgement, you start self-reflecting and you do the awareness and you do the inner child healing. And that's where it's the most important part. The inner child healing is where that pride stems from. Because the first moment you thought you had to put on that mask happened, I'm pretty sure it happened when you were a child, younger.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in school or somewhere.
It was out of fear.
Yeah, out of fear.
Of not knowing, what was about to happen. And and we all do it. We all do it. We step into a situation and we'll feel like we won't be accepted as we are, a lot of us. So we put on the mask that's accepted universally. But what happens over time is, and that's cool sometimes, it'll protect you from some things. It'll protect you from some things that would do you harm. But what happens over time is we get so used to being that particular version of ourselves, we end up stuck there. And we feel like this is it. It can't be no other way. But that's the trick, the ego trip. You know what I'm saying? That's the trap right there. Now you're stuck in that version. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And like, you never reach your full potential because you're rejecting all the new information that could come in and help you grow and build you up.
Yep, and that's exactly why when we learn about pride, we go to humility and health. And that humility, once again, like I said, self-awareness. So humility, when we realize humility, how many times have you had to humble yourself in a way where you operated, where you thought you were moving in confidence? Like, I'm confident in this thing that I'm doing right now, and if I move like this, and nobody can tell me nothing right now. But if you learn to reflect in that very moment where you're like, hold on, maybe I shouldn't think like that. Maybe I should actually start, moving in a way where I need to start, setting boundaries.
The boundaries are there to give you the confidence without the ego.
Yes, that's where I was getting to.
You know what I'm saying? So you can operate and function in the world. You know what I'm saying? Without the ego, but you can still have the confidence to walk into a room and shift the energy. You know what I'm saying, so to speak.
So what the advice you would give to our viewers here, because you all know, everyone who's watching here, I appreciate everyone who's tuning in as well, because we definitely don't
like,
forget,
share, subscribe.
Don't forget to like the video, like he said.
Like, share, subscribe, tap in, let us know where you checking us out from, where you tuning in from, leave some feedback in the comments. Let us know how you feel, what you think about pride and how it runs society, what area in society it runs today.
And
Like-
how, and you know, just like I reflected back my childhood, you know, think about certain things that happened to you as a child that made you feel like you didn't need help, or that, you know, you could do everything by yourself, you know, because these are prideful things that happened. That was a little seed that was planted in you, and then that seed grew into for you to move in those ways as an adult. And that's where humility comes, and you become self-aware, and you get yourself out of these ego traps, okay? You set these boundaries, you do self-reflection, you do the inner work, because every shadow has a story.
And I challenge you to take every moment as a teachable moment. Whether good or bad, it doesn't matter. No matter how the outcome of the situation turns out, take it as a teachable moment, and whatever information and lesson you gain from that, use it to grow.
We're not perfect.
Nobody is.
Nobody is. Even us sitting here today, we're perfectly imperfected.
Right.
Okay, and I've learned how to accept my imperfections. I've learned how to grow through the pain, grow through the lessons, because like he said, challenging yourself to become and overcome, you know, because at this time, you know, we aren't just, you know, our sins are here to show us where we're unbalanced, and that pride is that sin. But we all know that it also leads to us acknowledging it and becoming the version of ourselves that we are walking into.
Yeah, because that's what the virtues do. Actively practicing heavenly virtues will show you who you're becoming. And sins show you you're unbalanced, and the virtues show you who you can become and who you're becoming, and how to walk into your full potential.
And as we already know, you guys, we enjoy you, all our viewers. We enjoy all our listeners. We hope you guys liked what you heard, and don't forget to engage. Once again, like, comment, share,
subscribe. You know, hit us up. And as always,
it's your girl, MyGems,
and your boy Tony Benjamin.
and we're gonna see you guys on the next one.
So be cool how you be cool, be you and be true.
Peace and love.
Dropping Gems 252, where knowledge hits different.